There is no correct way to build a house. So if you're studying architecture, there's a lot to see. In fact, it might take you so long that you're gonna have to take different jobs along the way while you're studying it. Maybe you'll be doing something completely different, like being a nanny. And that will then bring about a new challenge, because apparently there is no correct way to be a good nanny either. Sally arrived in what appeared to be an empty house. There is music coming from the basement, being played in little fragments, constantly stopping and starting. She'd been told that there were Fridays where Raven and Troy would be working in the house. She ended up in the studio in the basement, trying not to disturb, and found Raven and Troy working there. They seemed to have a great deal to accomplish and very little time to do it in. "Are you looking for the kids?" asked Raven. "Yeah," said Sally. "They're in the house somewhere," said Raven. "They're looking forward to see you. I'm sure they'll be around soon." "Wonderful," said Sally. "I'll be upstairs." Sally went to the kitchen and began making the cocoa she knew the kids loved, and waited for them to come by. Suddenly the phone rang and a deep voice presented itself. "This is the headmaster of your architect education. Am I speaking to Sally Ann?" asked the voice. Sally confirmed that it was her. She also recognized within a second that what she was hearing was in fact Mew's voice. The headmaster went on to ask why Sally hadn't been to school much lately. Mew had no idea that Sally had in fact not been so keen on continuing her studies lately. And since the conversation was a safe place to play, Sally played along, answering the deep headmaster voice, and explained how she'd been a little ill lately. "That's okay," said the deep voice. "Do you know two girls named Stella and Mew?" "Yes," said Sally, "I'm their nanny." Yes, said the deep voice. "Why?" asked Sally. "We have decided in your school that you are to go with Stella and Mew on a tour in 1 week. Because they are both going on tour with Raven and Troy for 5 weeks. And you should go with them." "All right," said Sally. "That sounds exciting." "Yes," said the deep voice. "It's very exciting. Goodbye." She went back to the cocoa, but only a short while after the phone rang again, and the deep voice continued, asking whether Sally had been giving it some thought. "It's very important that you answer us now, here at your architect education, because we are building so many buildings all the time." "Oh yeah, that's right," said Sally. "But you know, I'm not quite sure. I'm going to have to think about it." Stella and Mew couldn't keep it up any longer and broke into laughter. "Hey Sally, it's us. Did you believe it? Could you hear it was us calling you?" "Oh no," said Sally. "I had no idea. The second time maybe I was a little suspicious. Where are you guys?" "We're underneath the house. We'll come up soon." "Wonderful," said Sally. "I think the cocoa is going to be ready soon." The kids explained how they were going with Raven and Troy on a tour, visiting friends around the world, and that they'd like Sally to come along with them. Sally explained how she'd love to go, but that she couldn't just leave her studies for 5 weeks. "But our school have already allowed us to go, and you heard your headmaster, right?" "I did," said Sally. "But the truth is, I'll be expelled from school if I just drop everything and hop on a plane with you guys. It's not impossible to do these things, but it requires a lot of applications and paperwork and time." The kids understood. Perhaps Sally was right, and they tried to comfort her, suggesting how she could stay in the big red house, look after Snowflake, Cookie and Babe, water the flowers, and empty the mailbox outside. Sally tried to cheer up the kids by reminding them that of course Raven and Troy and Craig and Toby would also be on the tour. "Yeah, they will," said the kids. "And we don't complain, but they are going to be working their asses off. It's not a picnic." "I see," said Sally. Several hours over midnight, the basement was still a busy battleground, and the team showed no sign of slowing down. It was like leaving a group of hunters who were now locked onto their very own target. The kids stayed up late and hadn't been talking to Sally since midnight. When she left, she promised she'd be back next week, but there wasn't much response. She went to the disco, because going home that night just didn't feel right. and thought about what kind of world you were living in, where kids had to argue and explain themselves in order to get what most other kids were used to. Not only was it heartbreaking, it could actually be solved. She sent Raven a quick message. "All right, I'm in." A few seconds later, she thought about what the hell she'd agreed to. Going on a tour. And what kind of architect she'd ultimately become.